We have a Haaland and Salah draft, a Haaland no Salah draft, a Salah no Haaland draft, and a no Salah no Haaland draft. Let's find out which one tickles your pickle. The Haaland and Salah draft sees you spend 27.5 million on just 2 players. That's over a quarter of your entire team's budget. Some would say that's actually a bigger waste of money than buying NFTs in 2024. No. To make this draft work though, you're gonna have to cut some corners. I have managed to squeeze in an Isak, an Arsenal attacker in Saka, and Nkunku for the Chelsea cover, so we do almost have a full squad, but you're having to have all 4.5 million defenders and a cheap enabler like João Pedro, who could also be an Armstrong or Hudson-Odoi or Rodgers in midfield instead. So that means you don't have Watkins, you don't have good defenders, and some would say you would have no hope. So this team could end up being the big boy unlucky. If Haaland and Salah are by far the best top point scorers, and one of your budget boysies absolutely pops off, then this could potentially be the best possible draft, and then you're laughing when you get all the points. As it will be pretty damn difficult to get in a Haaland and Salah if you don't start with them, as with their price, it's easier to jump off than to jump back on them. And then worst case scenario, if they aren't worth it, then you can just downgrade one of them and spread your money elsewhere. Now that sounds good, but personally, I don't really like this draft too much, but it may be the one for you. Next is the Haaland but no Salah draft. With this one, we are still having the dodgy defense of all the 4.5 million defenders, so it does have a weaker backline than me after a Vindaloo. However, it does have an Isak and Watkins, it does have Palmer and an Arsenal attacker, and also some flexibility with an Eze and Nkunku, who could be anyone you fancy around that price. You could also do a little switcheroo and downgrade one of the mids or an attacker to a little bit more of a functioning defence here, but it's actually not looking too bad at all considering you are still spending 15 million on one player, on the Mr. Robot himself. I personally actually really like this draft, and if I were to pick a Haaland draft, it would probably be this. I mean, I say that, obviously I created it, so yeah. But I do feel like with this team, not only have you got Haaland, not only are you covering a lot of the other great teams' attacks, but you're actually not missing out too much, and it does still have the flexibility to not get your knickers in a twist later on down the line if some of your players just aren't performing or if you need to upgrade some of them. So this team could be very sexy, not just for game week 1, but also moving forward too. Moving forward to the no Haaland but Salah draft, we yet again have the 4.5 million defenders backline, but this time we've upgraded the Nkunku to a Foden and swapped Odegaard to a Havertz. This now gives you arguably the best value for money front line if they all do as well as they were doing last season. The amazing midfield with genuinely so much flexibility, more flexibility than a gymnast, and plenty of captain options going around. If the Premier League follows the script that was written at the latter half of the last season, with Foden outperforming Haaland, Havertz outperforming all of his Arsenal teammates, and Palmer being cold, this has the potential to get all of the points and potentially be one of the best drafts for game week 1 and all the other game weeks too. Then finally, we have the no Haaland, no Salah draft, where we've downgraded the Salah to a Gordon, which allows you to upgrade Havertz to Saka, and finally have a defence that can defend, hey, with the likes of Saliba and Gvardiol joining us here. The only problem with this draft though, is that you have spread your money so much that you might actually spread too much that you've pulled a muscle. Where if a Salah, if a Haaland, or one of the other little bit more expensive guys somewhere else does well, then it's pretty damn hard to get to them. You're literally just going to have to socially distance and pretend they're not doing well, because the only way you get into them is an early wildcard. I personally prefer a draft like this for game week 1, as I would prefer a nice balanced squad to try and cover every avenue, and then you're going to wildcard soon anyway, so it's not like you need a perfect draft for game week 1, but I would much prefer everybody in my team actually have the potential to get points, and not just accommodate a couple of the big boys by having enablers in there which realistically aren't going to get that many points. But you know, this is FPL. No matter what you think will happen, no matter what has previously happened, the script could be completely different, and you can never predict what will happen from the next week or two, never mind the entire season. But that's going to be all, looking at these different drafts that you can make with and without Haaland, and also with and without Salah next to him too. Let me know which one of these you prefer, and what team are you on, Haaland or no Haaland? That's going to be all. Thanks for watching, and also, remember...
Don't be a cheeky scrub. Subscribe to Nathan Bacon right now. Don't let your memes be dreams.